Radio 531 PI, 27 minutes to 8 with Brian on a Pacific Breakfast. I'm joined now by Andrew Lovell, Director of Home Ownership Pathway for week 4 of our Home Ownership Pathway Bootcamp. So far, we've covered personal finances, deposit and credit, and this morning we're covering the home buying process. Helping us with this morning's session, no stranger to our Radio 531 PI listeners, former Saturday Sports morning host and real estate agent with Harcourts in Manukau, Mr. Bob Limalu. A very warm welcome to the show this morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Wow. Brian and the 12 people. Good
wow. So he said talo for lover, and you say Andrew. Oh my gosh, we've got Tonga and some guys. Can you just hold hands, just hold it up and hand, no, other hand, Bob. There you go. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Come on. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Okay, let's awesome. Man, and you guys actually look like you meant that, so that's awesome. So we are talking about the home buying process, and this morning, well, Bob, let's get straight to you. In terms of buying a home, so we've covered our first 3 weeks. What do we say again? Personal finances, deposit and credit, and now we are ready to go and start looking to buy a home. What does an agent do to help in that process?
Yep, Brian, basically a good agent should be used as a guide, if you like. Good agents should be able to research the market, give expert advice, provide data and information and comparative information as well on what's happening in a certain neighborhood, if that's where the buyers are looking. But they should be able to give information and just fill in the gaps for our buyers out there.
Okay, and when we're talking about gaps, I suppose that leads into the next question, Bob, about what are the different ways that you can purchase a home? Because like the old adage, there's many ways to skin a cat.
Yes. And some of our listeners and our people out there will be familiar with some of these different buying methods. So you've got things like the old traditional ways of price by negotiation. You see PBN a lot when you're looking through listings on the internet, for example. You'll see homes with a fixed price as well, which is another option. You'll see one of the most popular methods in recent times is auction as well, which can be a bit of scare a few people off. But an agent would be able to navigate our people or our buyers around those processes, give them information and advice and guidance around what to do in those different scenarios. In the example of an auction as well, agents will be able to guide through from A right through to Z process, be able to give insights as well. For a lot of people, auctions can be quite intimidating as well. But once people, generally what I find is when people know what's involved and all the different processes in between, they warm to that sale method. But an agent should be able to step them right through, like I said, from A to Z and help to give them that confidence to bid at auction.
Can you give us a few, maybe a few tips or quick tips on each of the different scenarios? So you talked about price by negotiation, there's auction, there's the set price, and I understand tender. Or is it the same as PBN as well?
Yes, a tender is probably more a formal process, if you like, and it's probably a little bit more organized than price by negotiation, where you submit offers as well. But just talking on price by negotiation, just preparing to put the offer together, and an agent will be able to advise around presenting a good offer, but also towards, excuse me, Brian, an offer that would be tailored to suit the needs of the buyer. But an offer that's going to be attractive as well to the owner of the home to be able to be successful in that process. In terms of an auction process as well, I mentioned before the different processes involved. I think a little bit of advice around there is to not be scared of the auction process. It can be to a buyer's advantage as well. Quite often you hear that it's, they're tailored really for the owners to win. But in some cases where I've been involved, buyers have done quite well out of the auction process. when bidding.
So on that note, we've covered the different sort of buying methodologies. So now I'm ready. I've got my KiwiSaver. I've got everything's all ready. The finances and all that. It's all ready to go. Where do we start?
So basically, when Andrew and the team have helped sort out the financial side, like you say, and you're ready with a pre-approval, it's time to go shopping. So basically, we go. I suggest to my clients and my buyers to have a look on the internet. Internet now is probably, as we know, one of the most popular sources of shopping for any product, and it's no different to the housing market as well. So places like Trade Me has just soared in popularity in terms of home buying. Realestate.co.nz is also another popular website. But that website as well is owned and run by a lot of the bigger real estate agencies. So a lot of them will list their properties there. So that's a good source. So rather than going to each individual website on different companies, then you'll find a lot of those properties are also on realestate.co.nz. You've got the newspapers as well, local newspapers, the Manukau Courier, Southern Homes publications. So there's a variety of methods or channels to be able to search for homes.
And could I just pop in there? So what we probably recommend is that you look at your activity. So you're looking at it, roughly about anywhere between 20 to 50 homes within your price range. And so if you go on Trade Me and go, well, here's my price range, for example, I could achieve between 650 and 750. So those are the parameters I'm going to put into Trade Me. And then I'm going to pick all the suburbs or all the suburbs that I feel like I want to travel to. And I'm going to be willing to travel out of the suburbs that I want to live in. And that's going to be like my guideline. And I'll probably pick up about 20 to 50 homes in that area and then work with an agent and wither it right down. And then my activity is going to be visiting, let's say, probably 5 to 10 of those homes with an agent, with someone like Bob.
In terms of, because Bob mentioned the term, pre-approval as well. I mean, yeah, it's I suppose, it sounds self-explanatory, but, getting to that stage or pre-approval, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, basically just looks like a document saying that you can achieve this level of finance, and this is basically your price range that you should be putting offers in. And so it basically saves a lot of time and energy. It saves the agent time as well, because you're not out there putting in offers where you just won't be able to achieve that kind of price range. So once you know exactly what kind of price range you're going for, so let's say if you can achieve 650, you're looking at homes around the 650 to 680 probably max, hoping that you can negotiate down to 650.
Brian, Andrew highlights a key part of the process. We were searching and shopping for homes to be able to search within your parameters, so i.e. the pre-approval, but it's almost a process by elimination where you've got your short list of homes in the area, and you're looking at things like location. How far away from work am I? Is there public transport nearby? Schools as well for a lot of our families is very important. What type of schools in the areas? So all of those factors come into it, and having an agent to be able to, a local agent who knows the area on the ground, who's got their finger on the pulse in the area, they can provide insights that you might not have thought of otherwise. We see a lot of buyers coming from other sides of Auckland who are now considering Manukau in South Auckland as a very real location for them to relocate to or buy. So I'm finding I'm often just guiding them on the ins and outs of the different areas. But also the agent in the end ultimately is able to negotiate, if you like. I think one of the most important things, one of the added value things that some people and buyers don't realize is that having a local agent, they're able to negotiate, not only give you insights, but negotiate with the owners or the other agency, the listing agency, to get you the best deal possible.
I think, something that comes up for me, and, I'd love to hear from both of you with regard to this, in terms of the whole emotional roller coaster when somebody, you've been to this is your 5th, your 10th auction, or, this is the 5th or 10th time you've put in an offer, and it just seems like, oh man, is this ever going to happen? How do we help in those areas?
Yeah, it's just a matter of just sticking to your guns really, and, it's black and white, and try not to get too emotionally or fall in love with a property yet, and just go with the numbers. Really, just go with the numbers and the activity. So we just try to encourage your activity, and yeah, you're going to get knocked back. It is a roller coaster ride. Buying a home is a roller coaster ride, and you're going to get knocked back, let's say, at least 3 to 5 times on that journey. So working with a good agent is going to be paramount to that. And just remember, it's always the negotiated price. It's always the negotiated price. So don't always feel disheartened when you do get knocked back. Get back up, get back on the horse, and and just keep jogging away.
Why did you laugh when you said horse?
Yeah, I just had to get it in there.
Okay.
That analogy there, Toggle. Brian, also as well, if I can just add there, a lot of people don't actually realize the buying process can be quite draining and stressful as well, especially like Andrew mentions, when you're looking at a whole bunch of houses and like you mentioned, you're aiming, make the offer and you miss. But a good agent should be able to provide realistic guidelines around the properties in terms of pricing, just in terms of putting together an offer that's going to be attractive to the owner as well.
The term conditional, unconditional offer, what does that mean, please?
Yes, so when submitting an offer, for example, you might want to submit an offer X amount, 600,000, say for example, for a 3-bedroom home, but you might be worried that look, the house looks a bit dodgy on the outside. Underneath, I saw possibly some leaking underneath. So while I want to pay 600,000 for it, I'm a bit worried that there might be some things underneath the house that scare me a bit. So I'm a bit nervous. So what I'd like to do is submit an offer which is for X amount of dollars, but it's conditional on myself organizing a building inspection. So once you've submitted the offer, then the agent will be able to put that condition in there for you, that this offer is subject to X amount of dollars, but subject to a building inspection. And so usually you reserve an amount or period of 5 to 10 working days to complete that building inspection. And once that building inspection is finished or completed and you're satisfied with the results that the house is actually fine, then the contract becomes unconditional. So
when we're talking about the building inspection, that can also include, like, you want to maybe inspect the electrics and all that, everything?
Correct. So you can also add in there a condition for due diligence, and due diligences can cover a wide range of inspections and checks. But specifically, you can have things like building inspection condition. You can have a condition for the LIM report to be able to source the LIM report from council, and then your lawyer can clear that for you, just around the legalities of the property, the compliance of the property. And then there's also the most common one is also finance condition. So I make an offer for X amount of dollars, conditional on the finance, that as long as Andrew and the team can provide the finance within the 10 working days, then we're good to go on that offer.
Awesome. LIM report, what is that, please?
LIM report is basically, it's almost like a footprint for the property. So it'll tell you what dwellings on the property are legal. So for example, where I'm involved around in the Manukau area, we have a lot of garages, if you like, on properties that are on the council file, on the council footprint as a garage. But some of our people have added to that structure, so added a couple of bedrooms or utility rooms, they're actually classed as. So a LIM report will be able to tell a potential buyer, are those rooms, those added rooms, are they permitted and are they compliant on the council footprint?
Nice.
So when we look at when you're putting in these conditions in your offer, what you're basically using them is like a string to a bow. Like that's your bow. So if you've discovered there's dwellings that are not supposed to be on the property, or you discover there's a leak in the roof, so you're going to use that as a negotiation tool. So you're going to be able to say, well, they're asking for $650 or $600. It's going to cost me, let's say, $10,000 to fix that leak in the roof. And also I've discovered that there's a illegal dwelling on this property. It's not registered with a LIM report. And my best offer based on that, on what I've discovered, is going to be, let's say, $570, $580, and that's an attractive offer. So that's all. When you're looking at these conditions, besides subject to due diligence and subject to finance, The rest you can use as kind of like a string to your bow and say, well, come back and we'll use that as a negotiation tool.
Awesome. Well, some final messages or tips from you gentlemen, Bob?
Yeah, Brian, I just wanted to reiterate something I mentioned before, is using an agent when buying. Quite often some people might go and buy privately, or else they may just go and negotiate with the agent direct. But using an agent won't cost them anything, but that agent will you'll be able to tap into their insight and for them to negotiate on your behalf. They know what they're doing.
Mm.
Yep, and I totally agree. Always use an agent, and choose one that you really get along well with, and is really good at communicating everything that you need to know and understand. And if you don't understand something, ask. And it's all about the activity as well. So making sure that you're getting your activity up and you're getting out to those open homes and you're asking questions all the time. And it's just activity. Don't fall in love with a home. We're starting with 20 to 30 homes, and we're going to wither it all the way down to 1 or 2 that we're going to put offers in on, and then work with the agent. That way we're saving the agent time and we're saving our time, but also understanding that, hey, if you see 100, you're going to get 1.
Awesome.
That kind of scenario.
Well, Andrew Lovell, Managing Director of the Home Ownership Pathway, and the Harcourt's Real Estate Agent, Property Bob Lemalu. Thank you so much for your time this morning, gentlemen. And we're going to finish the way we started. Hands together, up. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Bob, can you just look at Andrew and just say, hey, I appreciate you?
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, mate.
Thank you so much.
Wish I knew the song.
Wow, that's awesome, guys. Okay, then. Well,
it's only a game of footy. Leave it on the field.
Okay, thank you so much. You can carry on holding hands. Our news at 8 o'clock coming up shortly here on Radio 531 PI, bringing Pacific people together.